Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Enoch and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create forms in Elementor Pro. So before we get started, I'm going to show you what we are going to cover. Firstly, I'm going to show you how to configure form elements, for example, names, email, phone numbers, and any radio buttons or file uploads, date of birth. I'm going to be showing you how to style those elements later on in the tutorial. I'm also going to be showing you what actions should be executed after someone clicks the submit button of your form. Where should it send the email? Who should it send to the email? Then I'm also going to show you guys how to configure multi-step forms, which are going to help your business or your website to convert better. Then lastly, I'm going to show you guys how to customize your form to make sure that it looks great on desktop, on tablet, and on mobile. Okay, so if you're interested, make sure you have an Elementor Pro installation, and let's get started. So now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna click here and add a new page, and after adding a new page, I am gonna call this page get in touch. So I'm gonna click publish and publish it once again. Then after it's done, I'm gonna click on edit with Elementor. So now once Elementor is open, the first thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna clear everything from the page. Okay, so I'm gonna click on settings, then scroll down under to page layout and change this to Elementor canvas. Okay, so now everything has to clear from the page, just like this. So we have a blank page right here, and I'm gonna click on this plus icon, add a flex box, and just add a one direction column container with a down facing arrow, just like this. Okay, now while you're still here, one thing I would like to do is apply a padding from left to right of, let's say, 200 pixels, then also to the right 200 pixels. Okay, then I'm gonna go back to layout, and I'll make sure that all the content in this section is justified to the center and is aligned to the center. Okay, now let's click on this icon right here and add a container to our section. Okay, but before you do anything, actually I want to click on this section right here, then I'll go under style and a background, and I add a background image, this image right here. Okay, so that's how it's looking. Okay, then while I'm still with this section, I think I want to make it display like across the entire page height. So to do that, I'm going to go under layout and change the minimum height to VH and just make it 100%. Okay, all right, so come back to the section right here and click on this column. Okay, and this column is where we're gonna place our form. So we can go to style and change the background type to a color like white, which is fine, and you can make it just a little bit, transparent by using this wheel right here. So I think this level of transparency is just fine. I think I can leave it to that level. Then one important thing, okay, I'll show you its effect, but for me to show you this effect, just click on this form, this plus icon, and search for form right here and drop it in. Okay, so by default, that's how a form looks in Elementor. But when it stretches, okay, it's stretching right, yeah, looks right. But one important setting, when I'm clicking on these columns, for example, I come under layout and I always like to make this full width. Okay, because if I don't make it full width, for example boxed, and I come probably, let's say I want to reduce the percentage of the form, yeah, the percentage of the width of the container, and I place it to around maybe 60-65%, then this content inside the container is not going to span the entire width. Okay, so to make it span the entire width, you make sure the container content width is also to full width. Okay, so now I think that looks fine. So now we can get started working. Okay, so when it's changed to full width, remember to adjust again the percentages. So I think 65 is just fine. Looks fine. Yeah, looks great. So now above this form, we can put some text. For example, a heading. And drag a heading and maybe just say get in touch, something like that. And we can go under style and just center it. Under typography, maybe use a font, something nice like quicksand. Yep, something like that. So you can increase or reduce the size, but I think that's okay. And I can just make it a little bit bolder by using probably 600. No, let's use 500. All right, that looks fine. Okay, so now let's start editing the form. So you can click on this pencil icon or pen icon, then it will open up the form elements that you can edit right here. Okay, so you can remove some of these fields and add your custom ones. Okay, but now the first thing we want to add, for example, let's click on, sorry, I'll close this, add new item. Okay, then this can be text. For example, the name can be first name. Okay, then the placeholder, which is a text inside the input field, can also be first name, or you can select enter your first name, whatever you like. Okay, so that looks just fine. So I can reorder these. For example, pull one down and pull one up. I can even duplicate them. For example, I can duplicate the first name, then change it to last name. Okay, then also change the placeholder text to last name. Okay, so I'll correct this and say last name. So that's how it's looking. But one nice trick that you may want to do right here is that you can change this column width to like 50%. Yeah, then come and also change the first name column width to like 50%. And what that will do is that we just put it at the same height of same level of indent. Yeah, now below that, obviously we have an email, and you can add multiple items. Okay, so for example, we can click on add item and select the type. Maybe we want to capture the phone number of a person, so you can type in something like phone number, something like that. Okay, then still with the placeholder, you can copy that and just place in the text. Okay, for it to look like that. So you can add a number of fields. For example, if I collapse this, okay, then click on add item, I can add, let's see what we can add, a URL. Maybe you want to capture someone's social media details. Okay, social media URL. So you can do all that. So I can copy this and just paste it in the placeholder text. All right, so that is looking good. And still on this form, you can add as many items as you want. In this case, we can add, for example, some radio buttons. Okay, then maybe we can call these service. All right, then the options that we are offering, maybe client wants web design services, or they want logo design services. Maybe they want SEO services or any digital marketing services. Okay, I don't know why my caps lock is playing games, but digital marketing. All right, so it can be like that. You can add these, and one thing you can do is that you can actually make it in line so that it all falls on a single, line, just like this. Okay, then below that we can add an extra item, so I'll collapse this, then add, for example, let's say you want to capture date, for example, date of birth. You can type that in, you can select date right here, and you say maybe date of birth, something like that. And placeholders are really important, so I'll just keep date of birth, something like that. All right, so that's how the form is looking right now. So you can actually add more items. For example, if you need them to upload a file to this form, maybe you can insert file upload, and the label can be like upload resume, something like that. Upload resume, something like that. Or you may not actually leave it blank, or you add some text. You can actually make it required or do not make it required. You can enter the file size, because these files will get uploaded to your website, so file size really matters. You might want to limit it to 5 MBs, you might want to limit it to 10 MBs, and this will depend on your specific needs. Users can upload multiple files, so that is all possible. Now, one last thing that we can add is we can click on add item, then select acceptance. So you can type something like, by sending this email, you're agreeing to sort of you can say that you're accepting maybe the terms and conditions, something like this. So it appears right here. So this is how the form is looking, okay, right now. So you have all this that is going on. So we have the labels, but if you don't want the labels on your form, for example, if I'm to collapse this, you can disable them from here, okay, and I will keep them disabled for now. But if you want some required fields, for example, let's say the first name is required, and you turn it on, later in the settings, when you scroll down to the settings below and you insert a required mark, okay, these stars will sort of appear, okay. So let's change, let's say also require the phone number, okay, so you can just turn on the required field. And I think every element here in the list in the form has the required toggle right here, okay. So now I'm gonna disable that for now, but I also want to disable the labels, okay, because I want my form to look sort of unique and kind of neat, okay. So now once everything is done here, okay, what we can do is that we can come under style and we can start editing, okay. So now you can increase, I don't know what's happening to my Elementor, but let me just update and refresh it, okay. All right, let's proceed with by clicking on the, make sure the form is selected, and we come under style, and you can play around with the form gaps, the column gaps, you see how the name and last name are being shifted, but I think I'll keep it at 10. Then remember, I turned off the labels, so there is nothing to edit about them. Then in case you have any custom HTML fields, for example, let's see, we don't have any, but I'm going to show you how to add, custom HTML. So once that is done, you can minimize that, then come to the fields, okay. So for the text color of the fields, You can make them black, but I rather make them a little bit black, not so black. Then the typography, you can select any typography family font that you would want. For example, in this case, I'll use Quicksand, and it will look like that. Though I want to change the weight to something like 500, or probably probably 600 or 700. Yeah, I think this is fine. And we'll increase this size just a little bit. I think that's okay. But then the text color, I think I'll just make it black. Yep, for now. I think now what we're gonna do is now to make sure the background color is set to white, but you can play around with any color that you'd want. But I think you can include a white that is subtle, like this. And yep, I think that looks fine. Then what we are gonna do next is I feel like this should be black or even heavier. So let me just go back and change to like 700. Yeah, I think that's okay. So now once all that is done, yeah, now the next thing you're gonna do is we can play around with the border width. For example, by unlinking this, I can just actually apply it to the bottom, just like this. And that's how it's looking with 1 pixel border bottom. Okay, so you can change also this color. It can be black, really black, like that. And I think that looks quite fine. Okay, so now remember guys, now this section right here does not have any text to represent what it is about. We're having SEO or web design. So what you can do is that we can add some custom HTML by going to content, under form, scroll, open form fields, and once they're open, you can click add item, and you can select custom HTML by using the HTML tag and saying that this is service type. Okay, and what you can do is that you can collapse this and just drag it above services. Okay, then go under style and come to custom HTML where they say HTML field. Change this maybe to black and play around with the typography, probably the way you may want it, something like 700. Okay, then the font type, Quicksand will do, and that's how it's looking. So you can increase the weight or reduce it. Okay, so I think that looks fine. All right, so let's now scroll down. Let's go to fields once again. We have set the border, we don't need a border radius. And now let's work on the buttons. Okay, so by default our button is gray, just like this. But then what we are gonna do is I want to set it to black. Okay, and that's how it's looking. And when I scroll down, obviously the text can remain white. Yeah, that's okay. And we're gonna handle the previous buttons and the next buttons. We already worked on the submit button, yeah, which is looking okay right here, but you're gonna work on it later for the previous button, okay, when you're dealing with steps. But for now, we can go back to content and collapse the form fields, come to buttons. Okay, and when you're under buttons right here, you can change the submit button to something like send or get in touch or submit. For example, you can change this to submit. Okay, then what you can do, actually, if you don't like this font still, you can go under style, collapse the form, open up the buttons, and I don't see the typography for manipulating the okay, oh, it's right here, typography. So you can change this to quicksand. All right, so now it's looking nice, though it can be bolder, I think. So the weight, it can be 700. Yeah, okay, that looks nice. So you can go back under content, and before you edit anything, guys, remember remember that you can change this form name to something like get in touch form. Get in touch form. Okay, anything that you like to name it. Then under buttons, we already configure the settings, so you can have an icon actually right here. For example, if I'm to search for arrow, yeah, and use this one right here, and we apply it icon position after. That's how it's looking. Okay, then you can increase the spacing, yeah, to any desired spacing, and that would be fine. Okay, now actions after submit is what actually happens when someone clicks submit. Okay, so one, they collect submissions. So these submissions are stored somewhere in your Elementor. Okay, and I'll show you guys where to find it. Then you have an email. Okay, so this, you can set it to be your own administration email. It can be any Gmail. So basically, once someone submits their email or fills in this form and they click submit, this information is gonna get delivered to the mailbox, which you configure here. Okay, so when I click this plus, I can do more actions. For example, if someone submit. Okay, so for example, you can add a second email. Okay, maybe in this email you wanna copy someone in. For example, maybe you want to send it to back to the client to be like, okay, thank you for filling in this email and blah blah blah, we'll get in touch soon. Yeah, so to do that, you can go to back to the form fields, and when you're in the form fields, what we are going to do is we're going to look for email, and once email opens up, I think you can go to advanced and you can copy this shortcode. Okay, right here. And when you copy that, okay, we can scroll down to actions after submit. Under this second email, let's say you want to email the client with a thank you for, we're gonna get in touch, back to you soon. Okay, so you can paste in the email that this person would have entered, and maybe you can say a message, thank you for contacting, thank you for contacting, my spellings, contacting, maybe the company name, yeah, maybe it's called Rest Band. Yeah, this is just a company name, guys, nothing special. So the message would be sort of like, maybe we'll get back to you soon, we will get back to you very soon. Sorry. Yeah, so and the from email could be this, the from name, this is the company. Already, basically it might tap this information or to process this information from your website name, and when they're replying, they can reply to this email. You can add emails that they can blind copy or CC. You don't need any metadata to be sent to this email. Okay, so basically that's it. Now if you want your these subscriptions to be stored on a mail list, you can click on this item, this plus right here, so you can actually get these users redirected. Or if you're using services like MailChimp for email marketing, they can this information can be, you know, sent over to MailChimp, ConvertKit, MailerLite. You can actually trigger a pop-up. You can do so many things. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna leave that for now. Yeah, and let's first update this and open up to preview changes. Okay, so now this is how the email is looking. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I am gonna reload this and I'll try to make a submission. Okay, so let's say my name is Marcus Robbins. Okay, then the email, I'll use my legit email. Then the phone number 07 social media URL. Maybe you can paste in like an Instagram link. You select a service, select, for example, right now you can only select one service. Date of birth, you can choose a file, for example, the resume that we decided that people can upload. Yeah, so it can be a PDF document. It can be a PDF document, for example. It can be an ID or a resume, for example. Yeah, something like this. Then they always have to check, yeah, by sending this email, this acceptance, you're accepting the terms and conditions. Okay, so then you can click submit. Okay, so once a user clicks submit, to give this message, the form was sent successfully. Okay, so you can actually modify this message by going under additional options and turn on custom messages. Instead of the form, be like, you can say something like, we have received your inquiry, we're gonna get back to you as soon as we can. Okay, so now let me open my mailboxes and I show you guys what happened. So now this is the email I received saying thank you for contacting, we'll get back to you very soon. So yeah, this was just a little short message, but you can actually add in more items into this email that the user receives after getting the submission. Okay, so when a user submits something, on you and as the administrator, you will receive this information, yeah, their email, their contact, social media URL, everything they fill in, you'll be able to get. Okay, yeah, so you can actually customize them further, what email receive, you the admin, by going into the email section. Yeah, not email to, but email section. Okay, so you can adjust the subject. Maybe you can say new booking from Restban. Okay, so whoever fills in this form, this is gonna be the email subject that they're gonna be using, or that's gonna be sent to your email that you input here. So this can be really anything or any email that you want to send these messages to. Okay, so now we are almost done with this. Let me see if we have missed anything. Yeah, so now this looks good, but now there's one thing that I need to show you guys, is what it's called step settings. Okay, so now to create steps, what you can do is that you can scroll down and click on add item, then select this to this type and make it type, just like that. And what you can do is that you actually can duplicate it, yeah, to look like that. So one item can maybe be dragged, for example. By the way, what you can do while you're here, because when you actually scroll down to the step settings, you can actually change this type, yeah, from icon to number to anything that you like, these icons right here. Okay, so now when you go to the form fields and open them up and you go to these steps, you can go under advanced, sorry, not advanced, under content, and change the icon. For example, I can go to all icons and I choose the arrow icon. So I can actually use this arrow right here and click insert. Okay, and I'll collapse that. Sorry, I'll collapse it and delete this first one and maybe duplicate this just one more time. Okay, so this very first item that was added on the top, it was added automatically by Elementor, but I also change the icon library, go to our icons and search for arrow, and you can select this arrow right here. So now when you're happy, for example, so the first arrow, second arrow, maybe the last arrow, for you can go and change it to something, maybe a check. You can go to all and say check, and it just apply a tick like this. Okay, so now once everything is done, you can collapse this, then select this first step that we created, then drag it somewhere like under email. Yeah, so then it's gonna operate like that, or you can actually include the phone number, yeah, to something like that. Then you can get this last step and just probably apply it just at the date of birth, above date of birth. Okay, so when someone, you know, fills in this, all this information, and they click next, then they can see this information, and once they fill this in and click next, they can come to this page where they can add, for example, the date and choose file to upload. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go to style and scroll down to steps and come to the inactive can be black. Okay, then the secondary color can be, actually, let's say we make this transparent, then we make the primary color black, so it looks like that. Okay, then the active one, probably we can give it, should we give it an orange kind of shade, something like this? No, let's actually make it secondary color transparent, and let's just make the primary color sort of a green. Let's do orange. Yeah, such an orange. Yeah, and let's see when it's completed. I'm gonna go to the secondary color, make it transparent. So when it's completed, it can actually be green. Yeah, this kind of green. Okay, so let's try to fill in some information right here, and add the name, add last name, add a phone number. So this ain't looking right, so to combat that, the primary color has to be, okay, complete like this, or it can be just a black shade. Okay, yeah, I think that's okay. Then the icon size can be increased or reduced, yeah, using these arrow, or even the padding of these boxes can be increased or decreased. Okay, to something like this. So now that's how you create steps in the Elementor forms. So I'm gonna publish this and preview it. Okay, and this is how it's looking. Okay, so people can easily fill in their information, and you can click next, add some more information. So let's say you wanted to add some extra information, because the reason why you break it up into steps is because a single form can be overwhelming. Okay, so when you come, because we have a step right here, if we decide to, for example, let's say duplicate this social media URL, click on it and change what we are gonna do with it, and probably we wanna add a select menu, for example. Then we say level of education, level or experience, experience. So we can say maybe high school graduate or university. Yeah, I'm just typing this in. All right, so we can click update, then preview these steps. So the first step, we have all that information. Then the next step, we have the high school, social media, where I can paste their link. Then they can select from high school, where they attended university, or high school, and they can add any service type, for example. Check one of these and click next, and once they're done, they can submit. Okay, now I see we don't have any naming for what they are supposed to upload here, and to correct that, you can still go back to your forms, and near upload resume, we are going to add some HTML, I think, then just drag it, then just call it resume. Okay, then just say upload resume. Okay, so once I fill in everything here and select a university, service type, and upload resume, that's how it's looking. Okay, so when they click on it, they can upload anything that they are needed to upload. Okay, so that's how it's looking now. If you don't want all these steps to be there in your form, one way to do that is to go on by clicking on it. For example, right here, and click on this X icon, remove that step, and go to this step, and also remove that. Go to the first item and remove that. So then you'll have your normal form sort of looking like this. Okay, so guys, now with this form, one last thing that I would like to do is to add some security features. Okay, so when you click on this form, for example, you might find that you might get a lot of spam, a lot of bots trying to use your contact form, and Elementor Pro has some features that can help you counter that. Okay, so scroll down. Once you click on this form, scroll down to this part here where it says add item. Okay, then there are some options. For example, the capture codes. For example, we have this version in version 3. Yeah, but there is a way of linking these to the form, which is also fine. I think I've created a tutorial about that. However, Elementor has this feature called honeypot, and what honeypot does, it's kind of like a security gateway that Elementor Pro uses on all its forms. Okay, so embedded with it comes with some security features, whereby once this element is added to the form, this honeypot, you realize it doesn't show anywhere on the form. Yeah, what it does is that it helps you out with the bots. Okay, yeah, so once you add that, then you know that your forms are gonna be secure. Okay, so yeah, so now when you're done with the changes, every change that you want to make, you have to make sure that the form looks great on both tablets and mobile devices. Okay, so you can turn on this responsive mode, come under this tablet, and we need to make this bigger. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on this section right here, go to advanced, and then link the paddings to make sure that it's looking sort of like this. So I think this just looks fine for the tablet. Then for the mobile, it's looking like this. So what I can do still for the mobile, clicking on the section and link these values, then probably on the left I'll add a padding of like 20 pixels, then to the right also 20 pixels, and that is how it is looking. So I can add some padding still to the top of 20 and 20, yeah, just so the background, you know, is more visible, and that's how it's looking on mobile. And the next thing, after guys you've done all the changes, remember to update and preview your changes. Okay, so that's how it's looking on desktop. When I, you know, minimize it, that's how it's looking on tablet. And when I squeeze it further or make it smaller, that's how it's looking on mobile. Okay, now if you want to take a look at what people have submitted to your website, all you have to do is to go back to your dashboard and hover over Elementor and go under submissions. Okay, so right now these are the submissions we have from that form that we have been working on. Okay, so these two are my test demos, and this one is what we have been working on, and so far I have only made one submission. So when you click on view, you'll see that the first name, last name, the email, phone number, and some of these records that were inserted into the form. And that's how everything works with Elementor forms. Okay, I hope you guys got some value from this tutorial. If you liked it, you can share it with a friend, like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.